Good morning. My husband Gus and I have 2 children, Andrew and Nora. We have lived our lives and raised our children in a different faith tradition. In Ecclesiasticus we hear, "I have seen much in my travels and learned more than I could ever say." The pandemic caused a detour in so many aspects of our life, and the road led us to St. Andrew's in August 2021. Our first service here was transformational. We heard angelic voices and an amazing choir. We listened to a female giving the sermon, which was a first for us. And when my daughter leaned in and whispered to me, "I love this church," I knew we would be coming back. It was kind of love at first sight. The music lifted our spirits, the sermons reached our souls, and the camaraderie and coffee warmed our hearts. Coffee hour was a big hit and a major selling point for my husband. We were welcomed with open arms, and we started to get to know a few people. And within a month, my daughter and I had volunteered at St. James Methodist. Little did we know that within a couple weeks, we would be thrust into a mental health crisis with our son that would last nearly a year. It was clear that we would need to be on the receiving end of God's healing love. Even though we had only been at St. Andrew's for a few weeks, I reached out for help. We were cooked for, prayed over for, and with. The time in the pew every week was a balm to my weary soul, and I soaked in every sermon that felt like it was just for me. All I had was the capacity to do was to receive, because needs at home were so great. When you are receiving God's love and less focused on doing, you are really letting God direct the journey. As a type A person, that is really hard to do. But this time I didn't have the strength to argue, and I stopped getting in my own way. My son improved, and I started to have the capacity to give here. My daughter and I volunteered again at St. James over this summer, and then in August, St. Andrews started a market tent at the Brookside Farmers Market every Saturday morning, bringing its free coffee tradition outside. The coffee tent was perfect for me. I used to take my kids to the farmers market almost every weekend when they were small, and I've always been a big fan. I love the market, I love coffee, and I love St. Andrews. And before I knew it, I was giving God's love to the community around me. I have done it 4 times already. It's a great way to spend a Saturday morning, and it's more than a cup of coffee. It's a connection with market goers, both new and familiar, offering conversation, kindness, warmth, and a welcoming on behalf of St. Andrew's, just like the welcome we received last year. Who knew that so much could be accomplished sitting down? When Father John reached out to me to give the stewardship talk, I was pretty surprised. I just felt that I had only been able to give in such little ways, and they paled in comparison to what St. Andrew's had given us. But then I was reminded of St. Teresa of Calcutta, who instructs us to do little things with great love. You cannot have a church or ministries without financial support, and you cannot have a community without giving and receiving love. My daughter was right. We love this church.